Hello, podcast listeners, and welcome back. I'm happy to have you with me today to discuss Kelly Clarkson's inspiring Fresh Start. This is the Wishing You Well podcast, and I am your host, Maria Patrick. I'm a health coach and a Qigong instructor, and my podcast is a way for us to gather together to discuss topics of current interest and people in the news so we can make them relatable to our health and inspirational in order for us to live a better life. So listen in as we let the amazingly talented Kelly Clarkson inspire us this holiday season. You may not realize that Kelly has recently relocated to New York City from Toluca Lake, California. The city that never sleeps is now the home of Kelly's daytime talk show, as well as the new home for she and her family. After publicly going through a very stressful and painful divorce, Kelly decided that she and her two kids, her daughter River and her son Remington, needed a fresh start, and she chose New York City to support them on their transformational journey. I've heard her say that they love their new lives. They love living close to their East Coast relatives. They love their new schools, and Kelly's enjoying the easier commute she has now to Rockefeller Center, which is where she films her talk show. They are enjoying being able to walk everywhere and apparently have gotten much more active than they were when they were living in LA. And they are particularly enjoying Central Park as their neighborhood playground and everything it has to offer. Did you know that Central Park is 843 acres? It is also the most visited urban park in the United States. It has a zoo, a wildlife refuge, more than 30 bridges and arches, a marionette theater, a skating rink, multiple gift shops, a real-life castle, a chess and checkers house, and 2 restaurants. You can see why Kelly and her kids are loving their new home. I have been a fan of Kelly Clarkson's since 2002, when she was the 20-year-old first ever winner of American Idol. She has had so much critical success since then. Among her numerous accolades, she has received 3 MTV Video Music Awards, 3 Grammy Awards, 4 American Music Awards, 2 Academy of Country Music Awards, 5 Daytime Emmy Awards, and a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Kelly has sold over 25 million albums and 45 million singles worldwide. Her talk show is my mom's favorite, so we often compare notes about Kelly's latest music and the karaoke portion of her talk show, which involves she and her band singing a cover of a popular song every day. Many people probably think that someone as successful as Kelly would not need a fresh start, but the truth is that stress and heartbreak and health concerns do not discriminate. They are an equal opportunity, energy, and health vampire in our lives. Not only did Kelly shed her painful marriage and her LA home, she also has lost a lot of weight. She's wearing much more flattering and stylish clothes, and she even was recently sporting a new hairstyle. She hasn't yet discussed how she lost the weight, and there's been a lot of questions about it, but she has said she feels healthier, stronger, and more energized than ever before. Kelly has referred to all of these changes as her revamp. In one of her interviews about her fresh start, she said, "We literally were like, we're moving the show, and it's kind of an amazing thing to have an opportunity in season 5 to start over. So I literally, even with my wardrobe, said, let's revamp, let's elevate, let's go a little New York." She went on to say that the energy of New York City is contagious and that she and her team and her family are all so on top of it, and life is good. I find this inspiring. This time of year, with the colder weather, the shorter amount of daylight, and the many holiday temptations that are coming our way filled with calories and sugar, it may be tempting to just throw in the towel and say, I'll just revamp next year, or I'll start fresh in January. While this seems to be the way many of us have operated for years, I am now thinking that December, even though it's the last month of the year and perhaps the busiest time for us all, is actually a perfect time to begin a transformation, a fresh start, your very own personal revamp. The weekend after Thanksgiving is when we deck the halls in my home. I know many people who have the same tradition. Actually, it seems like people this past year have started earlier. And if my sons had their way, the house would be decorated for Christmas immediately after the last trick-or-treater is handed a Snickers bar on Halloween night. We begin playing holiday music on November 1st, and we all start counting down to the moment that my husband and I drag the boxes of ornaments and the bags of trees. We put up and decorate 12 of them. We pull that stuff out of our storage room in the basement. In order to do this, it involves moving furniture, cleaning places which I haven't cleaned in a while, dusting and polishing all the surfaces in preparation for the new decor, and getting rid of every last leaf which has fallen before the outdoor lights go up. It sure does feel like a fresh start. Every year, I'm faced with the same dilemma when I decorate for the holidays. Even though each tree is carefully undecorated every year, and the ornaments and lights are painstakingly reorganized and stored, there seem to be so many strands every year that inevitably no longer work when I go to put them up again to decorate for the season. It makes me wonder what the heck happens to those lights in the boxes in my basement for the 10 months of the year that they are in hibernation. Wouldn't you like to know? For me, it's one of the big mysteries of my life. Several years ago, I even went to the trouble and the expense of purchasing light strand holders with their very own boxes. I spent so much time when I took the trees down in January, carefully wrapping each strand around its own special holding rack. I thought for sure that this was going to help me beat the system and preserve those strands of lights for another season of use. So much to my surprise and disappointment, once again this year, I found that most of my light strands were unusable. We had to toss more unworking strands of lights in the garbage than we had left of working strands. As I pondered the fate of my Christmas LEDs, I realized that the lights are just like we are, that they are meant to be used regularly and not stored away like a hibernating bear in a dark cave, and that my whole lighting system, like myself, could use a refresh, a revamp, and a fresh start. Have you ever fallen off the healthy living or workout wagon? You know what I'm talking about. You miss a day or two because you aren't feeling well enough to go to the gym, or the roads are too icy for your daily run. What happens after that? Isn't it so tempting after you've recovered from your cold and the roads have cleared to just continue sleeping in an extra bit in the mornings? Sometimes those days turn into weeks or even months. You start replacing your healthy snacks with sugary ones, and you find that you cannot stop. You are craving sugar more than ever. They say it takes 21 days to make a new habit. I'm here to tell you that I think it takes much less time than that to break a good habit. When I'm on a workout roll, it is easy for me to make time every day in my schedule to get moving. But once I miss a period of time, I find it way too easy to start making excuses for not putting my sneakers on. And then once enough time has gone by, I start to feel like my strands of Christmas lights that will no longer turn on. Much like a hibernating bear, when you stop working out, your metabolism slows down and your heart rate is impacted. You start to feel sluggish, lackluster, and in desperate need of a reboot. The weather has gotten so much colder recently where I live, which is in the Northeast. The sun doesn't rise until after 7 a.m. and it's dark by 4:30 p.m., which means we barely have 10 hours of daylight and our work days are bookended by darkness. That also means that there are plenty of ready-made excuses for not sticking with our exercise plans. How different would the holidays feel for you if you actually made time for yourself this year? If you unpacked yourself like those strands of dormant lights and hit the ground running. When the bears come out of hibernation, they are just as strong as when their long winter's rest began. If I could only say the same thing about my Christmas lights and myself. So this year, I'm taking a page out of Kelly Clarkson's playbook. I'm going to treat December as a fresh start. I even moved one of my favorite pieces of workout equipment, which happens to be my rebounder, to a very prominent place in my home where it's going to be hard for me to avoid it. I'm going to have to practically trip over it. My rebounder's calling out to me to grab my sneakers, hop on, and get moving. My home, which is now filled with twinkling lights, gives me hope and encouragement on those dark mornings and evenings to get up and create a fresh start. Let's make December the month of transformation. There are certain ways we can do it. You can exercise while listening to your favorite holiday music. You can take a walk every night after dinner to admire your neighbor's outdoor lights. You can do a few extra laps around the stores when you're doing your holiday shopping. You can begin all your meals in December with a healthy vegetable soup and end them with a piece of fruit. You can use the darker, earlier nights as an excuse to get more rest. You can dance around while you're singing your holiday carols and drink lots of warm water to keep you feeling as fresh as your December fresh start. As you are doing all of this, you can rest easy knowing that I will be doing it right along with you. We are going to transform the month of December as well as ourselves, and we're going to do it together. Thank you so very much for tuning in today. I'm very grateful for your time. I appreciate your interest in my podcast, and as always, I am wishing you well.